What's going on, creators? Yeah, I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate you all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I'd like to talk a little bit about impressing the subconscious mind and how important it is to start to put your attention towards what you actually desire to see in the world by first being the change yourself, not waiting for somebody out here in the world to do it for you. I think that's a big part of the problem is people just sit on their hands waiting for somebody else to save them, especially save them from themselves and the stupid choices they're making, which then have consequences that cause them to suffer. And starting to get out of that kind of paradigm of being a victim, looking at that as being representative of the old man, and starting to identify more and more so each day with like the new creation that you are, the inner man. And learning what that means, and part of that for me at least is once you become more and more present and still, you can start to observe your thoughts and not feel like that's part of your identity. The thoughts, even the emotions, it's almost like if you're watching a movie on a screen, you can start to identify more with not the screen but the observer of the screen. And so part of like impressing the subconscious mind is to start moving in the direction that you actually want to see. So if you're sick of the narratives, the fear, propaganda that's just almost feels relentless, and that might be partly my own dramas, because I've been so like balls deep in like the media, and watching shit through screens and just being plugged into like YouTube, watching truth videos and raging against the system and all this kind of shit, where it's just like, I don't know if that's necessarily just my distortions or what, but this is my perspective at least. And so when I get triggered by what's on a screen, it's like I immediately want to just, I don't know, I first want to lash out at like the screen and like just the absurdity of it, the circus, the upside down nature, the obvious lies. But then it's like, well, why am I allowing that into my subconscious? Why am I subjecting myself to that? It was like keep looking out there onto the narratives, and like I hope that I start seeing truth through that, instead of just realizing that it's just part of the illusion. It's not, and a lot of it is the stories I'm telling myself about it then too. And it's like, yeah, there's verifiable historical evidence of just large scale manipulation, programming, and everything that comes through the media, especially like the news networks, which, if anything, it makes you uninformed rather than informed, because it's just so upside down and backwards, but like that's for everybody to, I guess, find out on their own. And it's like I feel like I'm just like speaking to myself because I dip into these things just to see what's going on, and I don't know why I do that, because like on some level I feel like if I don't, I'm losing a lot of I don't have very much connection with most people anyway. And so just because my life situation has been so different than most people, having done music professionally, like chasing like a childhood dream, going for it, achieving it, living it, starting a business, achieving it, doing it, and like then on top of it, just experiencing the reality being fluid and like dreamlike on top of it, and just seeing how desires and your thoughts and your beliefs and your assumptions start to become mirrored into reality. So it's like it's hard for me then to connect with most people that are just now finding out that there might be something off when it comes to what Don Lemon's saying. So it's like, it's like, okay, well, especially if you're my age and you didn't see like the glaringly obvious holes and bullshit that was going on with 9/11, the lies and manipulation with the weapons of mass destruction, and it's like most of these terrorists were from Saudi Arabia, but then we're in Iraq and Afghanistan, which then there was a time where they're like, well, if you're doing heroin, you're really supporting the terrorists because of the poppy fields and everything. And then, oh, surprise, surprise, Big Pharma comes out with all this, opioid, Vicodin, Oxycontin, and there's an opioid epidemic. Big shocker there, and then all of a sudden now Big Pharma is your best friend, and you can just trust them with random non-liability injections. that's fucking insane to me. And like, I get that it's not insane to a lot of people that believe that these things are trustworthy. I just have zero trust in these institutions for very good reasons, because they've historically shown why you shouldn't trust them. I mean, it only takes a little bit of like, hey Google, who's paid the largest criminal fine in history? It's like, oh, Johnson and Johnson's skin sunscreen products actually cause skin cancer. Oh, big shocker there. It's just, but I get triggered by these things, and then it's like, who do I? And so I think I dip into some of these stories, these narratives on some level to maybe connect with people that are seeing through the veil, because it is, you do see a lot more people waking up because of all of the madness and the hypocrisy and the just lack of critical thinking. Just this least common denominator type of us versus them. It's this simplistic arguments. It's like, oh, every problem in the world is from they're doing it to us. It's just like, take personal responsibility for your life. If you're worried about something that you have a 99% chance or 98 or even 90% chance of surviving, it's like, take care of your body, exercise, do some shit. This idea you just pop a pill and then you know that's all I gotta do is just pop a pill. It's so fucking lazy. I get really, I don't know, maybe triggered by laziness on some level, because I don't know, it just annoys me, and not so much of it's laziness and like that's it, but it's like what's annoying is when people bring it to me. I don't really care if people are being lazy, other than if they bring it to me and like, oh, I just wish I could do blah blah blah. It's like, well, just fucking do it. It's like, now is the time. This is when it happens. It doesn't get any easier. If you can't do the first step now, that's how you get shit done. You just start, and you just go for it. And so I get triggered by stuff like that, and at the same time, getting better and better at like recognizing that and going, okay, well, I don't want to continuously be triggered, and I don't want to have my day that be the narrative, because what happens is I get triggered, and then there's the story that I start to tell myself for hours, of just like, oh, poor me, having to deal with this, and I don't even know what I tell myself anymore half the time. When you get, a lot of times I don't feel like repeating it, because it's like kind of vicious on some level. It's just, it's starting to get more and more, yeah, I don't know. At times it's easy to kind of like step back, but other times it's just like, man, so tired of these just being around. It'd be nice if it was more balanced. It's like, it's one thing to be, oh, I'm wide awake, and things are great and awesome, and basically being able to do and have anything, and incrementally knowing that to be real through experience by doing the things that want to be doing. But then at the same time, then it's like, oh, well, it's very isolating and lonely then too. I almost feel sorry, for people that are like super famous, because their life has to just be very lonely. It seems like people would just be constantly trying to just take and just, oh, well, what can you do for me? It'd be so tiring to deal with that. I almost feel bad for people. But at the same time, I think that's one of those unintended consequences. So, as you start to realize, hey, these things are very triggering and aggravating, like the things I just was expressing, this is very irritating and aggravating for me. So it's like, well, the smart thing to do would be stop spending the attention and energy on those things and start focusing on, what's better. The better alternative would just be, being around people that that have a mind, like that think about things, that like to talk about things and not just parrot whatever came on the TV that morning. But it's so, in my general area, it's easy to kind of get lost in like just doing handyman jobs and just doing things for people, which is satisfying on some level, especially now that I got a guy that's helping me do that. I'm looking, hopefully, I don't know, I was thinking in the spring, start looking to hire more guys. I might be able to do it, in the winter. I just don't even want to risk it though. I just kind of want to coast this year and just get through the winter comfortably, and then hit it again in the spring. But like, yeah, I get into these things though where it's just like, man, it'd just be nice if, like, I don't know, the average people like knew that their thoughts become things, you know. And it's like, hopefully that's, you know, as time goes on, that becomes more and more of a thing, especially when you start seeing how many people are having success stories. That's why I like to share these, because it's like I'm having a success story. You know, I am a success story, I guess, you know, where it's just like, you know, just putting these teachings, these ask, believe, receive, to the test, and seeing it working over and over again. So it's like, it's easy to get caught into these same, like, hey, there's really, because it's actually very simple. You know, it's so simple a child could do it. You know, it's like you just embody the end state. And I guess I get, you know, when it comes to, you know, telling other people, I guess that's advice for myself too. You know, how would you feel if everybody around was enlightened on some level, or awakening, or interested in consciousness, or into just being at peace and not just spending. Because what's irritating for me is like, I feel like everybody around me is drunk all the time. It's like I feel like I'm in a bar at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's just like kind of out of it. And that's how I feel like most interactions feel to me. It's just, you know, people are very disconnected from the present moment and stuck in their mind about different problems that they'll then just start talking about, because really what's going on the insides comes out your mouth eventually. Whatever's going rattle around in your mind, it eventually comes out your mouth. And like, the thing of it is, it's like, well, again, you know, just saying these types of things, it makes me realize, like, well, I need to embody. Hey, how would you feel, you know, if that wasn't a problem? You know, realize it's not a problem. It's everything's working out for the good, and, you know, all these things that we say, and everything else. But, you know, you get these situations, you know, you get these people that are just fucking irritating and just aggravating, and at the same time, it's like, well, what am I trying to do with this conversation anyway? You know, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's getting harder and harder to connect with people on that level, especially with the pandemic shit, and then like, who knows how that's going to end up playing out. You know, I personally feel like it's going to lead to a mass awakening, which already has been. You know, it seems like every nonsense thing that you hear ends up backfiring, and as a result, more and more people become aware of the deceptions. But until people, I mean, it's such an infancy where it's like people are just starting to like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't listen to Tucker Carlson today, or Don Lemon. You know, maybe they're not the arbiters of truth that I thought they were. You know, and it's like you see a lot more of that maybe on the right for some reason. I think a lot of it has to do with spiritual reasons, because like, yeah, because it all boils down to your faith, and you know, so it's like you have a lot of godless people, and that might sound like a judgment or something, but it's like you got to be able to observe your reality. You know, it's like, okay, well, the sky is blue. Yeah, we're gonna argue about the shade of the blue, but it's like, you know, so the people without faith that are just really making experts their gods, or, you know, the government their god, or science their god. Yeah, things that don't exist in a vacuum. So it's like, if you get your faith in something, everybody's got their faith in something. But, you know, you start seeing how that is leading to a lot of groupthink, which I guess the problem that I see is like, I think it's playing out differently than people maybe suspect. You know, it's like I hear in the truth community a lot of like concern and fear when it comes to like the vaccine, like the shots and shit. Where it's like people are in fear because their job, like they're gonna be forced to get this shit or this and that. But you know, and then at the same time, you get on Twitter, you see a lot of like cockiness from like people that are just like, just wear the mask and take the shot and shut up. You know, those kind of people. They're just wearing a mask and shut up. You know, those types of people. You know, which at the moment might seem like they're a majority. But, you know, if we're, and I don't even like to say this because like I don't want to put it out there like that, because I don't want that to become like a self-fulfilling prophecy or come back on me. But it's just something I feel at the moment. Whereas, like, I feel like those same people, you know, if this was Nazi Germany in World War II, those people would be the Jews, you know. And like what and the reason I say that, because like a lot of people like are accusing those people of being like for the totalitarian kind of shit, you know, and so kind of lumping them with Nazis. But you know, I think it's the blind obedience that will be, you know, ultimately what fucks them in the end, because they're not being obedient to God. They're being obedient to, you know, and you know, maybe they are being obedient to God on some level, because you know everything is part of God's design and God's creation. But you know, yeah, that's just how I feel about it. I feel like the script is going to flip, and like the ones that are just really going along with this shit are going to end up, you know, kind of yeah, historically maybe like, yeah, I don't know, we'll look back and be like, oh, you know, they were like the Jews in World War II, you know, where they are the ones that really took a brunt of the deception, the potential horror, you know, who knows, you know, like I said, I don't like putting it out there, like, it's just what I'm feeling. You know, or it could be the exact opposite. It could continue to. I just, you know, it just feels like the more unconscious people get, the more atrocities are possible, you know, with that. And like, spiritually, though, you're only doing it to yourself, because we're all connected. And so if you aren't understanding we're all connected, and then you're wishing, you know, because I feel it too, you know, I'm not immune to like this wanting vengeance, or like wanting people to just disappear or just fuck off and go away, you know, where it's just like because you're hearing it on both sides, you know, where it's just like the vaccinated people are blaming the unvaxxed and like hoping that they get COVID and die. Meanwhile, the unvaccinated people are like hoping people that get, and not everybody obviously, but you know, that same kind of snake eating itself, where it's just like, well, you know, hopefully, you know, the people that took this fucking vax, you know, they'll get sick and they'll die. But as you wish death on other people, you're doing it to yourself, because we're all connected. So either way, you should probably be really mindful of like I guess repenting from that, you know, you know, not to make an identity of that that thought, but you know, see that it's there, feel the emotion. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with you know, feeling those emotions that are dark. They're there for a reason, you know, not to sit there and make that part of your identity, but not to, you know, and part of why I say that is from like the book Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. It's like I think Dr. David Hawkins wrote it. It was really a helpful book for me. I listened to it on audiobook when I quit smoking cigarettes. I was dealing with a lot of anger and like rage, and just for no reason, you know, just a lot of just vengeance, just wanting to like fucking destroy shit and just break things, and you know, hurt people on some level. And like and it was all for no reason other than just psychologically I was just dealing with a bunch of drama, you know, because like, I guess, like, you know, for me, smoking cigarettes was a big I don't know, it was like a coping mechanism to deal with anger, or yeah, frustration, difficulty, and stuff like that, which really only just buried it to have to deal with when I quit smoking and have to deal with that shit show. But like yeah, other than that, just kind of wanted to get on, kind of just share those things, but like at the same time remind people to start impressing your subconscious with what you actually desire to experience. So it's like where I get triggered when it comes to dipping into the media for whatever reason, you know, start focusing more on what I do desire, you know, instead. And so and the crazy thing is, as you do, as you make these impressions, and if your heart and your mind is in agreement on some level, where you don't have that resistance, it's crazy, because then you plant that seed, and it eventually pops in the present moment, manifests. It's wild when you and which it makes it like, well, why wouldn't I do this all the time then? But it's easy to drift back into the old man. This is a process of like really embodying the new man. But like but as you do that, as you start to feed your mind yeah, with more desirable information, because both of it, you know, it's like the absolute toilet of humanity is not representative of of the good that's out there. Most people are good people, and this is like from someone who's met a lot of people in my life, talked with a lot of people, done work for a lot of people, through music and handyman, I've just dealt with a lot of just people from all over, all over the world, done business with people all over the world, and like, yeah, most people are good people. I mean, you can trust most people. It's not 50-50. It feels like it's 50, and maybe it's, you attract, the right people or whatever. Maybe that plays a role in it too. If you go in with, good intentions, you start to manifest and attract people that are the same frequency, which, could be possible. Probably is more likely the scenario. But like, yeah, the thing I found though is like, yeah, the more that you focus on the good, the more that you see it, because it's everywhere. It's like literally everywhere. It's like you go through town, most towns where I've been in the United States, drove around, are relatively safe. The only time I felt unsafe was a handful of times, and just really sketchy situations that involved like probably doing illegal things. Yeah, I mean, yeah, then that might be a different scenario, but like, focus your attention on what you do desire, what brings you the joy, what brings you peace. Listen to more music. That's a great way to elevate your state of consciousness. Listen to some music, and unplug from the narratives and the fucking truth. The truth. A lot of those are just fear. I get so. I don't know anymore with some of these people in the truth community. It's just like you're not. It's like just peddling this hopeless, fear-based bullshit that really is serving Satan in a lot of ways, and not. It's not representative of truth, and it's sad, because. I look at it and it's like, that does not have to be how you experience reality. You're just staring in the toilet and just wondering why all you see is shit and piss all the time. It's like there's another room you can go into. I mean, go in the kitchen or something. Get out of the bathroom and start feeding your mind more empowering things, and focus on what you do want. You can do anything. This idea that you're limited by the they out there that are going to hold you back, hold you down. It's such a line of shit. It's not real. And like what I hear from a lot of people is like, well, what about the money? How do I get the money to do it? It's like, just start doing it. You don't need get $100,000 bank loan to go fucking do something. Just start doing it. You don't need that. But it's part of the lie that, oh, you have to be such a good little citizen with a whatever credit score to be able to get these things. I got family that has done rental properties for years, and the banks refuse to give them loans. From this recently. It's just like bullshit. And like, it's like you don't need that to do your own thing. You really don't. And so, and then I hear well, Mike, well, what about blah blah blah? As you move in that direction, everything will start to line up. The only thing that's preventing that is your fear, ultimately, from going for it, and too, is your lack of faith that you believe it. That's the only reason it doesn't manifest for you. That's it. But like, start impressing your mind with more things. It's like if you just, like, one of the things I deal with I'm trying to move away from like the present moment dealing with, but like pain and stuff, because that has been a part of my identity of the old man of me, and yeah, so it's like I apply the same things with that, even if it's happening in the present moment, looking at that differently, and not feeling like a victim, making a story, making it part of my identity, letting a lot of that shit go, and replacing it with a new story. Start I'll focus on people that have recovered miraculously, or people that have been able to fill in the blank. I mean, start filling your mind with beneficial things that boost your faith. Even listen to comedians, laugh. Start filling your brain, your mind, your day with things that make you feel good, and get out of this spiral of this downward spiral and if I mean, friends and family are part of that downward spiral, trust that God's going to wake them up in God's timing. Pray for them, but then there's only so much you can do. And I've seen that in my own life play out many times. The people that thought I was crazy are now, getting baptized and are, actually followers of Jesus, and are pursuing it because they're seeing miracles in their life. Synchronicities and things that go beyond religion. That's a big thing too when it comes to there's some of this religion, where it's like a lot of lip service and memorizing verses, but not really applying or believing the things that Jesus were saying. But I mean, that's part of the whole thing too. It's like, it's like when I go to church, I hear a lot of people talking about their suffering and everything else, and like making stories and narratives about their suffering, but then not, seeming to believe that that's not, they don't have to keep suffering like that. It's like it's laid out very clear in the Bible with the promises of God, and that anything that you ask for, you believe that you've received it and it's yours. You can be, do, or have anything. And part of it, part of this thing is believing that. Listen to like Neville Goddard, in the Law of Assumption. He does a really good job biblically laying out that. Not to say everything he says is gospel. Go within. So that the biggest thing is getting out of this idea of the old man that there's some external expert out there. Oh, there's some super spiritual person out here that's got all the answers figured out for you and is just going to just line it up and do make a little checklist for you to do. The reality is that expert's within you, and you need to start connecting with that for your source of truth and information and experience and knowledge and everything. And so, other than that, just wanted to make sure to put that out there too. If you're suffering, if you're not feeling 100% in the present moment, start making moves to correct that now. This is a battle to stay at rest. God's already gave you the solution. The problem and the solution is one and the same. And ask God what that means. Go within and seek that solution as it's already provided you the answer. And that might sound like a cop-out to some people, but it's like you can't please everybody. I got out of this thing where I even give a shit to please half the people, really. I mean, you start looking around the people, in general. It seems like half the general population is out to lunch, and the other is, kind of freaking out that they, what's going on with what's going on with these people. And so, other than that, I think I'm gonna bounce. I gotta feed the chickens, and it's getting kind of late, and so I gotta take care of them. I gotta put them back in I gotta feed them, and then I guess the turkey's been nibbled at again, and so I gotta figure out what to do about that. And other than that, I think I'm gonna bounce. So I appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing. I appreciate you guys' financial and spiritual support. Thank you for that. And other than that, have a good rest of your now, and God bless.